he has what I call mother privileges in my life. For those of you that don't know what that is, that just means when your mom asks something, you do it. You do it out of love, you do it out of repayment for so much, that's been given to you, but it does force you to kind of really look at where you're most grateful for 25 years together, and it's unfortunately been that long. Goes by really, really fast, and you start to prioritize all these different intersections as peers and, hey, Brett. As peers on a court, competing against each other. I am telling you, we played 8 times, and I managed to squeak out 4 victories. I have no idea how I won those 4, and I have no idea how I lost those 4, because Brad brought something pretty unique to the table, which is every ounce of him went in to figuring out a way to problem solve out there on a tennis court and to find a way to win. And most players, if they don't play well, they're not proud of it even if they win. Brad was the opposite. He took a great deal of pride in playing like crap and finding a way to... you can tell in those brief highlights that he has never really learned to hit a tennis ball properly. I'm not sure what is actually tougher, playing Brad or watching him play. But I do know Roger Federer's record would be in jeopardy if Brad knew how to hit a tennis ball. But his spirit was contagious. It was something you respected as an opponent and as a peer. Grateful for the moments with him on the court, grateful for the moments with him on a court as a coach. These things pale into where I'm going to lead with all this, because as a coach, he taught me so much. He taught me that a coach isn't measured by what they know, but they're measured by what their student learns. He taught me that in tennis, you don't have to be perfect. He actually taught me you don't even actually have to be good. No, really, you don't have to be good to win. You have to be better than one person. So that's what you call simple. That's what you call problem solving. He also taught me how to think for myself, as it is a lonely sport out there, with no one to pass the ball to, and no timeouts to call, no end the game clock that says you only have to play this long. He taught me how to think. He looked at tennis as geometry. He looked at it as how you get your weaknesses into somebody else's, how you avoid their strengths, and how you do the same. Make them play to your strengths while avoiding your weaknesses. And he also taught me how sometimes in sports and also in life, sometimes less is more. Simplicity. He taught me this profoundly in one particular match in Cincinnati in 100-degree weather, where I should have been beating the crap out of this person that I was playing, and I found myself pretty lost out there. Confused, and in a moment of balance in the match, I was rather desperate, so I did something I usually don't do. I walked back to my towel where Brad was sitting, and I simply looked up at him and said, "Do you have any advice?" To which he calmly responded, "Yes, stop missing." But there's an art to that. There are times to complicate things, and there are times to simplify. And he was a master at doing that. And when you are a coach-student relationship, you live together. And so you better like each other. You better love each other, quite frankly, because it's much more than just about tennis. And Brad has some incredibly endearing qualities about himself. I will say that his eternal optimism, combined with his childlike expression of it, is such an odd thing. Because you're so grateful for his optimism, and then sometimes you're not so grateful for his choice of communication of that optimism. Case in point, when I have a bad day on the court in practice, Brad will gently walk over and put his hand on my shoulder and say, I'm sorry, buddy, tomorrow we're going to have a much better day, And he's very sincere about it. And I would look up dejected and just kind of say, well, how do you know that? And he says, well, I'm sort of a statistic kind of guy, and I kind of look at the odds, and I've done the mathematical calculation, and I have concluded that it will be very hard for you to ever play this shitty again. You take this strange comfort in it, and then somehow you feel incredibly challenged to rise above shittiness. He also has a very unique ability to never stop talking. This is good because I like to learn, and you never know when you're going to learn with Brad, and most of the time it came at a dinner table or on an airplane or somewhere else in the world, far away from his family. And I think another endearing quality about him is his straight-out phobia of germs. This is also communicated in a very childish manner. He carries around hand sanitizer, so that if he's asked to meet somebody, shake their hand, he simultaneously reaches for the hand sanitizer in seconds and puts it on his hand, and then in an awkward moment of somebody feeling very offended, he sincerely looks at him and offers them some. But I am going to tell you now, on a more kind of serious note, what I am so thankful for. And I'm going to say this to you, Brad, because you need to hear it. You deserve to hear it. I'm going to say it to your family as well, Brad. Kimmy and Zach and Julie and Zoe, who I've lived with, dinners at their house. I've taken your father away from you a lot. And raising two children, 17 and 15, I would want somebody telling my kids this, and that is that I'm most grateful for your dad saving my life. The first time we got to #1 in the world together was a great journey, but I did have a lot of demons. I was profoundly impacted by the reality that I wasn't very fulfilled or satisfied with what the world seemed to call success. Now, this took me on a self-inflicted 2-year journey, from #1 in the world to a landing point 2 years later of about 141 in the world, in a marriage that was headed towards divorce at the age of 28 years old. No coach in their right mind would be with you through that downturn, and certainly no coach in their right mind would stay with you at that bottom. And there would be no coach that would take you on at that point, knowing that no other players really even played into their 30s. But your dad believed in me. He believed we could climb that mountain again, and his faith in me gave me the belief and the desire and the hope and prayers that somehow maybe, despite not choosing my life, I can take ownership of it, and I can start over. And we did. And you fast forward 2 years from there, and we are sitting in the finals of the French Open, the only Grand Slam to elude us, one that we could have won 10 years earlier, a couple times being heavy favorites, but didn't. And now here I am again in this finals against somebody that I'm heavily favored to play. I'm also old enough to realize I'll never have this opportunity. I better do it now, and sometimes that doesn't work for you on a competitive arena. I was so nervous, I was so scared, I didn't know what to do. In 47 minutes I was down 2 sets, 6-2, 6-1. And I was lost, a deer in headlights, frozen. Miracle, intervention, luck, whatever you call it, rains come in, and it's the only time in tennis that you can actually leave the court and talk to somebody, your coach. And I did. I left the court. Brad meets me in the locker room, and to understand something about a tennis locker room, there's 128 guys in the Grand Slam. There's another 60 guys that are there just to play doubles. There's another 30 guys there just to play mixed doubles. And everybody's playing on clay, and that's clay up to their waist, and the place is dirty, and the place is stinky, and everybody's speaking every language in the world except English, because Americans can't play on the surface. That's the truth.
That's true.
There are 4 people sitting in this locker room, my opponent and his coach, and me and Brett. And it is quiet, so quiet that you really believe that your thoughts are being echoed. And I look up at Brad, and all I can find myself saying is, really, you're going to wait for this moment to finally shut up. That's a lot of heat. It's a lot of heat, but it was real honest, and it was rare, and everything I said could be heard by the only guy that I have to beat. And I'll never forget how he responded to that moment. Unlike he normally did, pulled out an old trick of tools, I guess, in his coaching bag, who knows. He took a locker that was open. He slammed it so hard that it reverberated and broke. And he said to me, Andre, what the hell do you want me to say to you right now? He goes, here you are acting like you have to be perfect on a tennis court, acting like you have to do something special. You got one guy to be better than. Are you actually asking me to tell you that you're not better than this person you're playing? Meanwhile, he's sitting over there. He follows that up with, I've been with you at the top, I've been with you at the bottom, I've never left your side, we've been here for 2 weeks, you playing this tournament on your terms, your guns blazing, hitting your shots. He goes, and right now, you don't even know who you are. So if this is so complicated, let me try to simplify this for you. If he hits the ball over there, I got a great idea. Run. When we get there, if you're not sure what to do with the ball, wherever he is, don't hit it there. He goes, but this rain is going to stop. You're going to go back on this court, and you're going to play this tournament on your terms. Your dreams are in your hands, and we're going to go after it with our guns blazing, and we're going to go after it if we're going to lose this the way we've done it since the very beginning. And I walked back on that court, snuck back into the third set, managed to break to win the third, managed to find a little bit of a zone out there and quality tennis to win the fourth, managed to be serving for the fifth at 5-4, remembering his epic words of always go to the well, which I always ask, what the hell are you talking about? And he would say, the well is where there's water in life. The well is your opponent's weakness. If his forehand's a little worse, make him play it in the biggest moments. Every ball was going to my opponent's weakness that game. The last one being a serve out wide, and there's still a picture I want to find. And Brad, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I hit the serve. My opponent sticks out his racket. It leaves the racket, and it's not 6 inches off the racket. And there's one person. I'm rebounding from my serve. My opponent is trying to stay with the shot. The crowd is watching the ball. And Brad is standing with his arms up like this because he knew where that ball. He knew I was about to achieve our dreams that moment. Now, what that really did, besides the win, because wins come and go and are fleeting, but what that did, it gave me a second half to my career. And what that win did, and what that time did that your dad gave me for so many years, gave me a chance to find my mission in life. Gave me a chance to realize my dream is to provide educations for underserved kids who don't have choice in their life. I managed to affect hundreds of thousands as a result. That you're belief in me, Brad. And I'm close with this. Brad, your belief in me gave me a second half of my career that helped me find my beautiful bride. And as a result, because of your guidance there too, we got her to say yes. And also raised 2 beautiful children. So I still am the beneficiary of the belief that you always showed in me. I love you like a brother. I can't thank you enough for everything you've given me, and I could never repay you. I love you, man.
Yeah!
Sports Hall of Fame inductee Brad Gilbert.